श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
मत्संस्थामधिगच्छति
नात्यश्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति
नात्यस्ततस्तु योगोऽस्ति
न चैकान्तमनश्नतः
न चैकान्तमनस्नतः
न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
न चाति स्वप्नशीलस्य
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन
जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन
युक्ताहारविहारस्य
युक्ताहारविहारस्य
युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु
युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु
युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य
युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य
योगो भवति दुःखः
योगो भवति दुःखः
यदा विनियतं चित्तम्
यदा विनियतं चित्तम्
आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते
आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते
निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यः
निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यः
युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा
युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा
यथा दीपो निवातस्थः
यथा दीपो निवातस्थः
नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता
नेङ्गते सोपमा स्मृता
योगिनो यतचित्तस्य
योगिनो यतचित्तस्य
युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः
युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः
यत्रो परमते चित्तम्
यत्रो परमते चित्तम्
niruddham yoga sevaya
niruddham yoga sevaya
yatra chaivatmanatmanam
yatra chaivatmanatmanam
pashyannatmani tushyati.
pashyannatmani tushyati
Sukhamatyantikam yattat
sukhamatyantikam yattad
buddhigrahyamatīndriyam
buddhigrahyamatīndriyam
vetti yatra na chaivayam
veti yatra na chaivayam
sthitaschalati tattvataha.
stitachalati tattvataha.
Yeah. Okay. Sukhamatyantikam yattat. And in that context, this Atyantikam Sukham, we talked about 4 types of Sukham. So Vishaya Sukha, Vidya Sukha, Yoga Sukha, and Turiya Sukha. So in that context, we were briefly reviewing Ashtanga Yoga, because this chapter itself talks about Dhyanam. Dhyanam is a very big part of Ashtanga Yoga. And so the word Samadhi comes, which is a big part of Ashtanga Yoga. And so we thought we'll review that Ashtanga Yoga and see, how that connects with what Krishna is saying. So last class, if you recall, we said Ashtanga Yoga is a vision which has eight aspects, eight components to it. And they are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Okay. And Yama, do's, things, Yama is don'ts, things that we are advised to stay away from, not do. So we said Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteyam, Brahmacharyam, and Aparigraha. So I'm not going to review all that again. And then Niyama. So that's where we stopped, Niyama. So Niyama, again, 5 do's are there. So Shaucham, Santoshaha. Shaucham is cleanliness. So Antara Shaucham and Bahya Shaucham. So taking a shower, etc. is Bahya Shaucham. Antara Shaucham is keeping the mind clean. And so we have we do values, attitudes, and karma yoga. All those things contribute to Antara Shaucham. So Shaucham and Santoshaha. Santoshaha is a being contented with what we have. Work for what we don't have and what we want, but in general, being happy with what we have. Learning to be happy with what we have. If I'm not happy, then I must learn to be happy. So that also is there. So that is Santoshaha. So Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam. Yella bhase nija karmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. So that is what it is. So Santoshaha. So there he says, be happy with what you have. Shankaracharya in Bhajagovinda. And so comparing, therefore, does not help. If you start comparing, then the person who constantly compares is never going to be happy. Impossible. Because there is always somebody who has more than what we have. Whatever attribute you are comparing, whether it is wealth or whether it is happiness or whether it is children or children's accomplishments. So the list is endless. And so a very dangerous thing. Comparing is a very dangerous thing. So, and comparing will give us asantosha. You can always compare and say, I want to be as compassionate as that person. That kind of comparison is okay. I think that's fine. So look at him, such a simple person, and see how happy he or she is. I think that comparison, if you want to do, that's perfect. So then third one, Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya, very important. In all spiritual traditions, Swadhyaya must be there, must be there. And but in our case, Vedas being vast and Vedas being the cradle of the world civilization itself. They say India is the cradle of the world civilization. And how come it became the cradle? And because of the Vedas. Who said that? Well, our Acharyas said that. But then somebody else also said that. Max Muller also said that. And that's how they targeted the Vedas. That's how they targeted the people who studied the Vedas. So that must give us a clue that Swadhyaya is an important part of the Niyama. Then Tapaha. Tapaha. Tapaha means disciplines in general. So religious disciplines, non-religious disciplines, and religious disciplines. So in our tradition, there is no such thing called non-religious. Everything starts with a prayer. Kritunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha. The minute you start with a prayer, it becomes religious. And so, therefore, all activities, all the things, including simple living, basic living, speaking the truth, all these things they're all tapas. And in chapter 6, we've been studying many types of tapas. Yuktahara viharasya. So yukta cheshtasya karmasu, all these things. Discipline in food, discipline in the way we talk, everything becomes a tapaha. And then what? Ishvara pranidhanam. Ishvara pranidhanam. So that is the fifth one. So again, that recognition of Ishvara, Bhagavan is the world is given, we say, and so that world is not, that wonderful world is not created by me, Ishvara. And all laws, not a single law is created by me. In fact, my whole body, mind, and senses are operating within the framework of the laws that are set up. And not an atom moves. And all the movement of atoms also is part of that law. And on top of that, there is the law of karma, and which is karmana gahano gati. And so that is so complex. But yet we are all following the laws of karma also. So therefore we say Ishvara is the karma phala data. And so that karma phala data, whatever I do, I offer to him. So Ishvararpana buddhi is there. And whatever comes to me that I want or that I don't want, that also is taken as prasada buddhi. And so the likes and dislikes also. Hey, I have likes, raga, I have dvesha. Even that is Ishvara anugrahat eva. Even the raga dvesha is a blessing of Ishvara. And so, so the Ishvara Pranidhanam, it's a very big topic. And so that is included by Patanjali Maharshi in this Niyama. And so we have Shaucham, Santoshaha, Swadhyayaha, Tapaha, and Ishvara Pranidhanam. 5 do's. Previously 5 don'ts under Yama. Okay. Now, this our Patanjali Maharshi, this Swadhyaya, that is study of the Vedas, and of course teaching of the Vedas also is Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya, Tapaha, discipline, and Ishvara Pranidhanam. He calls it, he combines all of these things in the second chapter, first sutram. He says, Swadhyaya Tapa Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. 2.1, he says that. Okay. He gives the name Kriya Yoga for these 3. Swadhyaya, Tapas, and Ishvara Pranidhana. And that is our Karma Yoga. That is our Karma Yoga. Kriya Yoga called in Ashtanga Yoga is Karma Yoga in our Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And so then this Yama Niyama combined, if you carefully look at it, it is all the Bahiranga Sadhanam. that we've been saying in the 6th chapter, right? All the disciplines, basically. Do's and don'ts are all disciplines. And so, disciplines to be followed throughout our life, every minute of the day, actually. And so, that Bahiranga Sadhanam, that we've been saying in chapter 6, what is it, till verse number 9 or 10 or so, they're all they're all to be connected with Yama and Niyama of Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. Then Yama, Niyama. Third is Asanam. Asana. Asanam is, now the whole world is doing Yogasana. And so we don't have to explain much about asana at all. And those days, sitting down was a norm. They never used to have dining tables and all that. My mother's parents' home was a big home in a village, and I don't remember seeing a table and chairs. There used to be all this unjal, this what do you call this? Forgetting all these names. The swing. Okay, thank you. Swing. So swing. We used to have swings and all that, but every room used to have a swing, and but no table, no chair. Unbelievable. We used to sit down. Never occurred to us also. And now you ask these children to sit down and eat, and they are looking at you as though something is wrong. Okay. So the best time to watch this is when kids come from America, and then they, especially they're a bit grown up. Young children can sit wherever they don't have a problem. A little older, 8th grade, 9th, 10th, and then you sit, and then the legs are all protruding up, and then the thighs don't go down at all. And so, asanam. So our asanams used to start by sitting down and doing some work at home. And so, asanam, physical postures, etc. Those days, what the Swamiji used to say, those days they used to spend so much time with the Vedas and a lot of sitting down. And you sit down whole day, it's a big problem. The body will quickly become sick, actually. Yeah, if you're sitting all day, correct? Today, that is a problem. Office workers and all, sitting constantly is a problem. And so this whole yoga, Hatha yoga was all invented, Swami used to say, to help these people who are sitting all the time. They have to spend some time to stretch. And so all these asanas and all came out of that without needing all these tricycles and bicycles and this thing that you run on. Um, yeah, that shows I'm forgetting a lot of these names, and all the equipment you had in the gym, all that. Without all that, they could lead a normal life. So thanks to asana and pranayama. Fourth one was pranayama. So vayu rodhanat liyate manaha. Upadesha Saram of Ramana Maharshi. And so that breath is such an important thing. And they found the connection between the breath and the mind. And they just developed it to such an extent that it's a whole big science, huge science, pranayama. Just breath itself, one can spend a whole life on that. And so the Vayu Rodana Liyate Manaha Jala Pakshivat Rodha Sadhanam, says Ramana Maharshi. He says, hey, just like you put the bird in the cage, like that you have to restrain your mind. And by what? Vayu Rodhana. Just by focusing on the breath, if you can master your breath, then your mind is also more or less mastered. That is what Ramana Maharshi says. And so that is pranayama. 4. What did we say? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama out of the Ashtanga. Then 5th one, pratyahara. Pratyahara is same as dhamma in our Bhagavad Gita. Dhamma means mastery of one's senses. So sense pursuits are all under one's control, no longer just carried away by things. And so even in chapter 6, 8, 9, 10, 12 yata chittendriya kriyaha, all that we saw. Wherever this word vijitendriyaha, all these things come. It's all talking about this pratyaharaha, damaha, sense mastery. And then, so this asana, pranayama, and pratyahara, okay, that is the antaranga sadhana we've been talking about. Antaranga sadhana is what? All the preparatory steps to dhyanam, right? Samam kaya shiro grivam, all this we said. And Shuchau deshe pratishthapi, etc., starting from basic asanam, sitting seat onwards, and then breath, etc. Right? Prana, pano, samau kritva, nasabhyantara charino. So all that, this antaranga sadhanam, asana, pranayama, pratyahara is all antaranga sadhana. Yama niyama we said is bahya, okay, bahiranga sadhanam. So disciplines for our life, and then antaranga sadhanam, disciplines related to dhyanam, preparatory steps to dhyanam. Preparatory. Why preparatory? Because next in Ashtanga Yoga, you're going to have dharanam, dhyanam, and samadhi. Those are the last three in this Ashtanga Yoga. Dharanam, dhyanam, samadhi. Dharanam is the ability to focus, ability to spend a considerable amount of time on one thing, in general, on one thing. Only then dhyanam is possible. A person whose mind is racing cannot sit and do dhyana. It is just impossible. It's just impossible. And so, therefore, dharanam comes, which is ability to focus. Then dhyanam, this whole topic, chapter 6 is there, dhyanam, and then samadhi. Okay, samadhi. And so these three, dharanam, dhyanam, and samadhi, form the remaining verses of chapter 6. We've seen bahya and bahiranga sadhanam. We have seen antaranga sadhanam, preparatory steps to dhyanam, and the rest of the things are going to be dhyana swarupam and dhyana phalam. The dhyana swarupam, the process of dhyanam. What is dhyanam? That is this last three aspects of Ashtanga Yoga: dharanam, dhyanam, and samadhi. So I hope you've made a note of these things and made the connections. So this Ashtanga Yoga versus what Krishna is talking about, that differences we have to see a little bit here. And what did he say in this shloka? We are now looking at shloka number 21, right? Sukham atsantikam yattat buddhigrahyam atindriyam veti yatrana chaivayam. That's what we're looking at. Sthitas chalati tattvataha. Okay. So this samadhi of Ashtanga Yoga, okay, often also called as nirvikalpaka samadhi or nirvikalpa samadhi. Okay, this samadhi of Ashtanga Yoga, we are going to now ask the question: is it in the category of experience or is it in the category of knowledge? I think by now you are beginning to appreciate that there is jnanam, which is highlighted by Jnana Yoga, the pursuit of knowledge that Krishna has been talking about all along, knowledge of Atma and Ishvara, knowledge of Ishvara and Atma being the one and the same. Okay, Jiveshvara Aikyam. It's an equation, and equation is to be understood, and therefore knowledge comes into play. And samsara, this life of becoming, okay, of being born and then dying and being born again, etc. This whole samsara, this life of becoming, is due to that ajnanam, the ignorance of my own reality, my own nature. Because of ignorance, I confuse myself to be the body, as good as the body, and then I suffer on account of that. This is the thesis of Advaita Vedanta. Now, that is why knowledge comes into play, because there is ignorance. Ignorance, therefore, only knowledge can remove that. So, comparing all that with Ashtanga Yoga, Samadhi in particular. Okay, what is Samadhi? Is that same as what Krishna is talking about? Okay, that is the question. And so here the key to remember is Samadhi does not come in the category of knowledge, it comes under the category of experience. Okay, knowledge and experience, we've been separating all along. Why we are separating all along? Experience, everybody experiences from the time one gets up, even during deep sleep, one experiences. That is why you can get up and say, I had a good sleep. That is why you can get up and say, I had a very disturbed sleep. And so that all that is experience. Throughout the day, experience is happening, and then knowledge is there. Jnana. Is Jnanam also an experience? These kinds of questions should arise in our mind. Okay. And the answer to that is not difficult, because experience is what? There is somebody to experience something, and then there is an object that is being experienced. Whether the object is outside me or inside my mind, that is okay. And but there is an object that I am focusing on. That is a cause for my experience. I think of a sad event that happened 30 years ago. An event, a traumatic event, and I can become sad right now. So it was an object outside, but now it is all inside, because outside thing is all gone long ago, but it is very much there inside. Okay. So therefore, in any experience, there is an object of experience, there is a subject, there is me, and then there is the interaction between the subject and the object, which is called experience. So experience, this is experience. There's always a division. Experiencer, experience, division is always there. Only when the division is there, you can say it was good, it was not good, it was hot, it was pleasant, it was unpleasant. All these things requires this division. Okay. Now, Ashtanga Yoga, this yoga darshana is a Dvaita darshana. In Dvaita darshana, the duality is considered real. Satyam. Atma is very much there. Ishvara is there. They call Atma as Purusha. Purusha and Prakriti, like that they talk about. Okay, Purusha and Prakriti. And then Atmas are many. I am one Atma, you are another Atma. Like this, there are many Atmas. Atmas are identical, but there are many Atmas. Okay, then Bhagavan is there, Ishvara is there. Then what is moksha, if you ask? Then moksha means isolating the Purusha from Prakriti. Prakriti affects Purusha. The world affects Atma. And therefore that Atma called Purusha by in this vision, and Purusha has to be isolated from the Prakriti. And if you are successful in isolating, then you can say you got moksha. This is the vision of yoga darshan. And so this nirvikalpa samadhi, often people say that is the end, and that experience is what is called as moksha. Okay, I hope you're following me. Okay. Now, in Advaita Vedanta, as we study, it becomes fairly obvious that any experience, by definition, begins and it has to end. Without an experience beginning, you cannot say you had an experience. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is an experience where there is absolutely no thought and you are awake. Deep sleep also, there is no thought. Okay, there is no thought. but you are asleep. You are not aware of yourself. Okay. But in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I am awake, very much awake, but there is absolutely no thought. And I am aware that I am awake. If I am not aware that I am awake, I am sleeping. Correct? If I am not aware that I am awake. What is that? What is the meaning of that statement? That means I am sleeping. I wanted to sit down and get into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, but then later on I come out of, I told you, later on I'm fresh, and not because of anything else. It is because of what everybody does every day. It's called sleep in the night. And that is what happened, except in the daytime I slept. Okay. And did you have any dream during when you slept, when you did this Nirvikalpa Samadhi? That is a question you have to ask. But here, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is almost the same as deep sleep, but it is not, because deep sleep, you are asleep, and Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the same experience as deep sleep, but you are awake. Okay. Nobody gets up from a sleep, and everybody wants a good sleep. Everybody wants to that 6 hours, 7 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, whatever you spend, you want that period to be a proper sleep. And the minute that sleep gets disturbed, you are upset. Somebody wakes up at 2 in the morning. Somebody at home, there are 2, 3 people at home, and a significant other wakes you up. 2 in the morning. What? Where is sugar? Yesterday we purchased sugar. Where did you keep it? What? We went to the store and purchased sugar, right? Where did you keep it? What time is it now? It's 2 o'clock. What's wrong with you? Why? That is this the time to ask a question like this? And so nobody wants to be disturbed at 2 in the morning. Yeah, emergency means, okay, that is different. I'm having difficulty breathing. Then immediately you get up. You don't get upset. You get up. But otherwise, we don't want to be disturbed in the middle of the night. So that experience is very desirable, deep sleep experience. And therefore, this Nirvikalpa Samadhi, because it is a similar experience, it is also very desirable. It's also very desirable. And therefore, Swamiji says it is the greatest hook. And Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the greatest bait. Bait means what? It can trap you. It can trap you. Because that experience is just something that you want. It brings you back to yourself almost. Okay, something that you want. And so, despite that, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the greatest accomplishment you can have as a samsari. Correct? As a samsari. Because it's joy. Without doing anything, you are happy. You are experiencing happiness. Now I want to use the word experiencing happiness. Okay. Okay. So this is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay. And so, but then because it is an experience, it will come to an end. Every experience has to end. And if it ends, it can begin again also. Later, it can begin. Okay. So this beginning and end is there. And because it is such a great experience, when somebody does Nirvikalpa Samadhi, and Swami jokes about this, and he come out of the Samadhi. Why? You wanted to be in the Samadhi for 2 hours, but it's been only 10 minutes. Why? Because the neighbor turned on the vacuum cleaner. What do? So you come out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi and then you go into anger. This is Avi's joke. You go into anger. Why? Because these fellows, they don't understand. And then you can only get upset. And so this is what happens. Or somebody hammers. And those days they used to hammer. Kata kata with a hammer they used to hammer. But these days, no kata kata and all. They have a machine. And this machine, this drill bit, you put it at the end and then press the wall and then keeps on going. And these days we hear a lot of that. And just when you don't want it, this sound begins, and it doesn't end also. I thought at least this machine will make the job faster. So within seconds, the job should be done. But then they keep on doing it, doing it, doing it. And so this is what happens. Nirvikalpa Samadhi comes to an end. Okay. And the key here is the question that is being asked is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, it is too good, it is important. And once you have this experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, your world will be different. Okay, your world will be different. This is the claim that is made. Okay. So the question is, what is the meaning of that? Your vision will change completely if you have a Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay. Now, what we say is, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is an experience. Okay. And when you have an experience that is out of this world, you are welcome to say you got that experience. Others also should get that experience. Have you had gulab jamun? Yes. Do you like it? Yeah, I love it. Have you had rasagulla? No. You've not had rasagulla? No, I've not had. You are missing something. You have to have rasagulla. Okay. And gulab jamun multiplied by 10. Okay, that's how great it is. Oh, really? Okay. So this is the experience means this is how it's going to be. Some people have the experience, some people don't have the experience. This is how it's going to be. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi also put it in that category. But then Nirvikalpa Samadhi is different because they say your world will become different after that. Well, world is different means what? What is the meaning of this statement? Did your vision of the world change? Did your perspective of yourself change? Did anything change in the world? Did your way of looking at the world has changed or what? Well, every experience has to be interpreted. Because it is an experience, you have to interpret the experience. Okay, I'll give you an example. The sun. Best example is the sun. The sun is moving. You wake up and the child also knows when the sun rises, you have to wake up. And sun rises in the east also, child says, and the child also knows sun sets in the west. So the sun is constantly moving. Day after day after day, it's moving. And it is not just one person's experience, it is everybody's experience. Correct? Yes or no? It's a universal experience. Okay. Now, and then I say what? I say sun rises at 6 in the morning, and then sun goes up like this, and then noon it is almost on top, and then it's brightest and hottest in the middle of the day, and then towards the end of the day it sets in the west. This is the common experience. Now, you need a scientist to think through all this. You need an astronomer to think through all this and find out what exactly is happening. Correct? And somebody stands on the platform and say, oh, the platform is moving, help me. Hey, idiot, wait, just close your eyes if you want, but just the train is moving. Okay. Okay. So now, but the sun experience is, nobody's there to tell us what is the reality. Experience is a starting point for inquiry. It need not be the truth. The perception is real. Whatever you see is real. The perception of the sun moving is correct. We don't deny that. But whether the sun is actually moving or not, it requires a lot of knowledge. If suppose you were in the North Pole, okay. Now you may ask me, how will I end up in the North Pole? I will give you this thing. So these days, all social media, this, that, and all that. So they used to have pen friends those days. Pen friends means only letter writing. Somebody somewhere you ended up and you started writing letters to them. They are called pen friends. So these days also, social media is there. And, near North Pole, there are some places, some cities are there. And they're very sparsely populated, of course, but they also have internet and they're also on social media. Okay. And then some pen friend, this, that, and you got invited. Your son got invited. Son says, I'm going to North Pole. And the parents are saying, what? I'm going to North Pole. My friend is there. And now, so the whole family is going to North Pole. Okay. And so you end up in North Pole. And then North Pole you go, then you know what happens? All your idea of sunrise and sunset goes out the door. There's no sunrise, there's no sunset. Let me help you with that. It may be very difficult. We are not used to all this thinking like this. So this is the Earth's axis. This is the Earth. Imagine a globe, a sphere with the axis like this. Okay, and this is the North Pole. Correct? This is the North Pole. Okay, and now this Earth is there. The sun is far away there. Sun is far away. If you are in India or America, you're somewhere, near the equator, above the equator, and so the Earth is rotating like this, and so it's going to be bright now, and then as the sun moves, the Earth rotates like this. It's going to be dark, and so night time you sleep, and then you wake up in the morning, etc. By the time the Earth makes one rotation, you're sitting on top on the North Pole. Just look at this. North Pole is right here. You're standing right here. The Earth is rotating. You are watching the sun. You woke up in the morning, you are watching the sun. The sun is there in the horizon. Okay, because you're standing like this, and sun is on the horizon. Horizon, correct? In the morning. What about afternoon? Well, the Earth has moved like this. You're still on top. And after 12 hours, you're facing that side. The sun is still in the horizon, but behind you. Correct? Behind you. Correct? And then the Earth is rotated back. You're still in the same position. The people on the equator have moved around like this, but the fellow who is standing on the North Pole is still right in the same position. So the sun continues to be in the horizon. So what is this person's experience? This person's experience is the sun is rotating on the horizon. On the horizon. Can you believe it? Just on the horizon, okay? Like a morning 7 o'clock sun, okay? And then it's just rotating like this. Afternoon, it's on the other side, horizon. And then by night time, and then night time is on the horizon, and again on the horizon. The sun neither rises nor sets. Summer is always above the horizon. Winter is always below the horizon. 6 months, you won't see the sun in the North Pole. Correct? This is that person's experience. The same earth, the same sun, the same sunlight, and different experiences there. So somebody has to put together all these experiences and figure out what is going on. Experience is a starting point for inquiry. Experience is not final. Okay. So Nirvikalpa Samadhi also is in the same category of experience, and we have to look into that, and that experience, however delectable, however enjoyable, okay, that is not final. All experiences, no experience is final. Any ananda that you experience is your own nature. How your own nature. You just found a different way of experiencing that ananda. Okay. And so in Ashtanga Yoga, so Ashtanga Yoga is very important. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the greatest accomplishment of a samsari when it comes to Ananda. So that experience of Ananda is there. And so wanted to talk a little bit about this Samadhi. And it's a big topic. I have not studied much about Samadhi. It's a little bit here and there I've studied. Some of the Ashtanga Yoga people, they will know a lot about this. There are many sutras that talk about it. And But samadhi is in the category of experience. But still, it is a very useful technique. Why? What is good about samadhi? If one can gain nirvikalpa samadhi, it means the person is a karma yogi, has complete mastery over ragadveshas. Only such a person can get this. Correct? Otherwise, the world is just too much waiting to get your attention. And so, therefore, as a disciplinist, it's one of the greatest disciplines. So that is why Ashtanga Yoga is so important. And and then, but Ashtanga and Nirvikalpa Samadhi therefore keeps you within samsara. Correct? It does not take you outside samsara. It is within samsara. Why? Because it's an experience you seek. Then you come out of that experience. Then an experience you seek, you come out of it. And so it is part of samsara. What does Vedanta say? Hey, you are the essence of the experiencer. You are the essence of the experienced object also. The object is not separate from you. And you are Purnaha. This is what Vedanta says. And that experience that you get is because the experiencer experienced division disappears. In fact, it happens in every moment of joy. Even when you're watching a sitcom on the TV and then smiling away, laughing away, even at that time, this dissolution happens. The dissolution of any division. In fact, the division between me and the world also disappears during that moment of joy. Correct? That is what joy is. Joy means that division completely disappears. No more Dvaita there. In that moment, there is no Dvaita. The world ceases to exist. The world separate from you ceases to exist. Everything is just one ball, one big ball of joy. Okay? That is Ananda. That is Atma. That is what Vedanta says. You are welcome to have experiences. But then this Atma, whose nature is Sachidananda, Swarupaha, that is the nature you are. And that has to be understood. That's why the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, when I interpret that experience, I have to interpret it. Otherwise, when I come out of it, my vision is not going to change at all because I've not analyzed the experience. I'm only seeking the experience, but I'm not analyzing the experience. Like the analysis of the movement of the sun. Okay. So and the fact that I have to go in and come out of it shows that it is part of samsara. It is a great experience to have, no doubt, but it's still part of samsara. The vision doesn't change. Okay. So the world is different when you gain Nirvikalpa Samadhi. If somebody says, we say the world is not different at all. Your ignorance continues to remain. You just happen to get another experience. Good, go ahead and get it. But unless Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididyasitavyaha. Shrotavya, listen to what the Shastram says. Shastram says you are Purnaha, you don't need any experience. How are you going to deal with that? You are the source of all experiences, Shastram says. How are you going to deal with that? So therefore, we wanted to bring that topic of Ashtanga Yoga here. And so here Krishna says, Tattvataha na chalati, in this shloka. So this is something we will talk about some more. So, Sthitaha chalati tattvataha. Nacha eva ayam sthitaha chalati tattvataha. So from that truth of Atma, this person, this yogi, dhyana yogi, sthitaha, na chalati, does not move away from, does not deviate from, cannot be away from that truth. I've been seeing the snake all along. Suddenly, somebody says, no, it's a rope. What is the snake you're talking about? The minute you see the snake, a rope, the minute you see the rope, You cannot see the snake. Correct? You cannot see the snake. Even if I force you, I'll give you so many rupees, please see a snake on the rope. It won't work. Why it won't work? That is how truth is. That is how truth is. This jnanam is like that. You cannot. Either you see the snake or you see the rope. You can't see it. Now, again, here in this example, there is a limitation because today I may not see the snake, but tomorrow suddenly I may see a snake. That also is possible. So that we leave aside. Don't worry about that. So, like that, this tattvam, one question will be asked: what happens if this person in jnani meets with an accident? And that. So now the question is: jnani meets with an accident, and he lost his brain function. He doesn't even remember his name. Okay, where is the question of Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya, and all that? Atma is Purna. No, he's gone. He's become a vegetable. There we say, yeah, he may be a vegetable. He may be completely not functioning at all physically, but it is no longer his knowledge. It is no longer her knowledge. It is not knowledge of an object or a thing or a concept anymore. And all of which are subject to memory. Memory. That is why we can say, oh, I studied that in high school, I forgot. You can say chemistry, yeah, I was good in chemistry, but now don't even ask me the formula of water. I don't know. Okay. So that I can say because all that knowledge is subject to memory. It must be there in my memory because they're all objects away from me. But then here, Atma is not away from me. Atma is me. And when that rope is seen, that's over. Game over after that. Okay. And so, Tattvataha na chalati. The person does not move away from the truth of oneself. So let's translate these two shlokas here. What time do we have? A couple of minutes. I think we should finish translating. Let's translate 20. I think I did not translate 20, right?
20 translated.
20 I did. So dot, dot, dot. After that 21, begin with a dot, 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 ellipsis. And when one recognizes this absolute happiness, and when one recognizes this absolute happiness, which is known by the intellect, comma, which is beyond sense perception, so, and when one recognizes this absolute happiness, comma, which is known by the intellect, comma, which is beyond sense perception, and when, comma, being rooted therein, one never moves away from the truth of oneself. One never moves away from the truth of oneself. Dot, dot, dot. And when one recognizes this absolute happiness, comma, which is known by the intellect, comma, which is beyond sense perception, and when, comma, being rooted therein, one never moves away from the truth of oneself. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yeah, Maheshji.